Hi and welcome. In this video, I will show you how you can connect your Function app to your Key Vault without storing any secrets or connection strings. We will explore both system-assigned and user-assigned managed identity, and you will understand when to use them, how to use them, and basically how they work behind the scenes. I will show you how you can test this setup in your local machine and without storing any connection strings or secrets. By the end of this video, you will have an Azure function that connects to your Key Vault securely, both in your local and cloud environment with the Azure best security practices. Let's dive in. First, let's see what is a managed identity. Managed Identity is an Azure Active Directory feature that provides Azure services with an automatically managed identity. This eliminates the need to store credentials in code or configuration files. Some of the key benefits of managed identities are no credential management required, automatic credential rotation, free to use, simplified authentication, enhanced security posture. And how it works. When you enable managed identity on an Azure resource like Azure Functions, Azure automatically creates a service principal in Azure AD. This identity can then be granted permission to access other Azure resources like Key Vaults, storage, or SQL database, and so on. In this tutorial, I will show you the managed identity in two parts. One is the local development, how you can use the managed identity in your local development and how it works in cloud in Azure. Let's go now to Azure and create a Key Vault service. I'm logged in Azure and let's create a resource group. RG demo, review and create. Next step is to create a Key Vault. Create. We put it to a newly created resource group, KV demo. Let's search for the West Europe. Something maybe like this should be available. Great. We go with the standard, review and create. The resource is created. Let's go to the resource and create a secret. We give it a name like my connection with a text of this is my connection. A string, for example. I will just copy paste the value in the secrets section and create. This is exactly what I wanted to show you here. For creating a secret, here you need to have a proper role RBAC assigned to your user. So if you are a global administrator, you need to have a specific roles assigned to this specific resource to be able to create objects like secrets, keys, and certificates to be able to work with that. And this is what we are going to do next. I go to the access control section. Here, add a role assignment. I'm searching for a role, Key Vault administrator. And exactly it's here, and click next. Here we want to grant access to my user, not managed identities. So the selected option is correct. And here we need to select to which member or group we want to give access. Here I want to give access to this account, and I will select it. Review. And the RBAC role now is assigned. Let's go there and see if I can create the secrets. This might take some time to get affected, but let's give it a try now. My connection. I also copy paste the text here. Let's give it a try. So we successfully were able to create a secret inside the Key Vault. In the local development, we are going to use our own Azure AD identity. I mean the user that we are logged in. So we try to log in with our own account, username, password, and then here we ask a token from Azure AD. Azure AD returns us a token with proper roles, RBAC roles that we have already. And then we try to send that token to Key Vault. And Key Vault checks the token with Azure AD if we have the proper permission to get access to Key Vault, for example, for reading a secret. If that was true, then Key Vault will send back the secret to us. So this is how the flow basically works in the local development. Now let's talk about default Azure credential class. This class tries multiple authentication methods in order until one of them succeeds. I listed here down three important or most common used ones that is going to be used by most of the users. One of them is Azure CLI. With this one, you need to have Azure CLI installed on your machine. And also this is the one that we are going to use in the demo. We have the Visual Studio and also Visual Studio Code. Let's go and create an Azure function, and in the code I will show you exactly how this works. Here I am in Visual Studio. I created a project and I inserted the code to save some time, and I will take you exactly through the code and we will see together what we have in the code so far. So in the project file, as you can see, I installed Azure Identity, NuGet package, and also Azure Extensions, ASP.NET Core configuration secrets to be able to work with Key Vault and configurations. Okay, let's go to our local settings file here. Here we need to bring the Key Vault URL, which we have in Microsoft Azure. Exactly this URL we need to copy and paste to that place, whatever you have if you are following along with the demo. And also in the program class here, basically we get the URL of the Key Vault, which is in the app settings, and we try to add the Key Vault to our configurations with the help of default Azure credentials class, which we discussed earlier. Based on that, if we go to our function class, which is a very basic and HTTP endpoint, it just reach out to our configuration and just send back the secrets value, which we get from the Key Vault. Actually, this is a very nice feature or piece of code that enables us to combine our Key Vault values to our configuration and also does the authentication, as you can see. So for running the project, we need to log in with Azure CLI. We are going to try that. So I will type here AZ login in the command line. So I'm logged in now, and now it's the time to run the project and see if things are working and we are able to get the secret from the Key Vault with what we have. So up and running, I have here a Postman request to that URL, fire the request, and this was exactly the value we put it as a secret to Key Vault. We can double check it. Here, if we go to secrets, connection, this version, and here you can basically show the value, this one. Now let's see how this process works in the cloud. If we publish our Azure Function project to the cloud, then what happens exactly? Azure Function tries to get the token from the Azure AD with the help of Assign Managed Identity, and then try to send the token to Key Vault. And also Key Vault will validate if the Azure function or the managed identity has the proper permission for accessing the secret. If yes, then returns the secret to the Azure function and the rest of the process. Now let's take a deeper look at managed identities. We have two types of them: system assigned managed identity and user assigned managed identity. What is the difference between them? In the system assigned managed identity lifecycle tied to the Azure resource, it means that that managed identity belongs only to that Azure resource itself, created basically and deleted with the resource. So whenever you delete your resource from the Azure, also that managed identity will be gone. One-to-one relationship with the resource, of course, because they are tied to each other, and automatically cleaned up when the resource is deleted, as we discussed. The use cases can be for a single application deployment when you have only a single application, or very basic or simple scenarios that your service basically needs some sort of permission that only belongs to that service. But what about when you have several applications and all of them needs the same permissions? And this is why we have user assigned managed identities, because in this case now we can share this identity between the services and applications. So this resource, I mean user assigned managed identity, is a standalone Azure resource, independent lifecycle. This means that the user assigned identity will be not deleted if you remove the services that are attached to it, and basically it centralizes the identity management. Let's go to Azure and create a function app. I choose Flex Consumption here, our resource group, West Europe. That works. The runtime stack is .NET, and we keep everything as it is. We can review and create. The resource is deployed. Let's go to the resource. And now I would like to show you the system assigned managed identity, this part. So for that, we need to go to identity under the setting menu. And here we just need to switch this on. That's all. The system assigned managed identity will be created. As you can see, the resource is registered with Microsoft Entra ID. Okay, let's go now to Key Vault because we would like to access permission to this managed identity. Access control. And here we would like to add a role assignment. Let's for the secret user. So this role for reading the secret should be sufficient. And we click next. We want to use here managed identity and select a member. Function app. And exactly this is the system assigned identity attached to our function app. We select it. The role is assigned to the Azure function. Let me quickly go back to our function. Because now it's the time to deploy our application to our function in the cloud. In the project, click publish. Let me see if I can make this screen a little bit bigger. Yes, function app, next. The publish profile created now. And we hit the publish button. The publish finished, and let's go now to Azure Function and grab the URL and give it a try. In the portal, under the settings, environment variables, we need to assign the Key Vault URL that we already created, if you remember, in our application settings. Save it. Let's go now to our function. From this tab, get function URL, we are able to copy the URL and give it a try in Postman. So I will copy paste the URL here and click the send button. Yes, we got the value from the Key Vault and we were able to make it work with system assigned managed identity. Let's remove the system assigned managed identity, and then after that we can try it with the user assigned managed identity. Here in the settings identity, I will just switch it off and save. Okay, let's try it again with Postman if we are able to get the secret or not. Actually, we shouldn't. This latency means that something is wrong and makes sense. Okay, I got an exception back from the server, and here we can see something went wrong in total in the Azure function. So let's try to fix it with user assigned managed identity. I create now a user assigned managed identity. Let's search for it here. Create. We put it to our resource group. Let's call it web app west. Okay, the resource is created, and we can now go to our Azure function, and we can assign this to our Azure function. So again, we need to go to identities under setting, not in the system assigned, but in the other tab, user assigned. Click the add button, and this one, which we just created. We click add. It is assigned. So this identity also needs the proper permission, and for that, let's head back to our Key Vault. Access control. We search for Key Vault secret user as we did. Next, managed identity, select a member, user assigned managed identity. The role assignment completed. Let's go back to our Azure function. I will just quickly restart the function. Okay, we need to add an environment variable. Which is the ID of our user assigned managed identity. I try to grab it from another tab. Go to our resource group. This one. Okay, with that in place, again, let's try the request with Postman. Hopefully, we should be able to get back the secrets. There we go. And that's it. Now you know how to use both system assigned and user assigned managed identities. If you find this video helpful, please give it a like and consider to subscribe to my channel because I'm going to share more practical videos like this one. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.